I'll do it.
Oh my God! All right, that's all it took.
Yeah,
Was
I'll do it. I'll do whatever.
passive agreement, and we're in. What is up, everybody? Welcome into the DMVR Nuggets podcast.
Let's go. Why are we so far away from each other?
You guys do feel, man. You guys, this looks like a middle school date. It's like, man, don't
date.
sit too close. You're like worried.
We're fighting, actually.
You guys, oh, that's what it is. Of course,
We're
guys.
not usually this close to each other.
Very special show for you. I'm gonna introduce the panel first. I got Harrison Wind over there, hiding behind a hat.
I'm doing great, man. I've been on Twitter a lot over the last 12 hours. Some of you might have seen.
We're gonna talk about that, Harrison.
Okay.
We're gonna talk about
I won't
it.
spoil it.
Harrison, honestly, I don't know who's having the best year. I think Harrison, maybe of any human on earth, is having the best year.
there.
I'll take it.
Over here, bringing his A game shirt-wise, it's Brendan Vogt.
Took my first L last night in maybe 2 weeks.
What?
The Celtics won.
Oh, come on. That's like the smallest L.
Well, listen, I'm feeling greedy these days. What's wrong with 2 sweeps in my life? What's
Yeah,
wrong
that
with
would have been nice, actually. And then, of course, our esteemed guest today from The Volume, it's Liv Moods.
Yes. Hi.
Welcome.
I'm excited to be here.
Hi.
I'm actually stoked to be here.
Well, we're stoked to have you here. So I have to start out by asking, I just became aware of you one day, and I don't know what it was, a couple months back or something. And I'm like, there she is on the scene doing her thing.
Here I am.
Super Nuggets fan,
Yep.
and obviously riding this wave right along with us. But just give me your origin story. Like, where'd you come from?
Yeah. Well, Denver, born and raised.
Okay.
Well, I was born in Colorado Springs, but it was for
That
a minute.
counts.
We
That's
don't.
fine.
We don't even.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
we don't
counts.
talk about
We'll
that.
count it, yeah.
So Denver, born and raised, and then I went to TCU. I was a Horned Frog for 4 years, and
Go Horned Frogs.
I actually wanted to
It's
be.
actually a good name.
Yeah.
That's a
It
good
is.
mascot.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like not extinct because that means
Really?
they're gone. They're endangered.
I didn't even think they were
Oh.
real. So
And
this
did
is
you know horned frogs?
they were made up.
Did you know horned frogs, when they feel threatened, they shoot blood out of their eyes?
That's
I
what
did
Eric.
not,
That's
but-
Is
what
that
Eric
not the
does.
sickest thing you've ever heard?
Let's
That's kinda
raise
dope.
awareness for
Yeah,
horned
we need
frogs
to
on this
raise
show. Let's get
I
it
want
going.
everyone
Let's get
to
the
know what a horned
GoFundMe
frog
out
is.
there.
Yeah.
Like, let's get some momentum going
Yeah,
here.
it's sick. So anyway, went there for 4 years, and I actually wanted to be an investigative reporter.
Okay.
So I minored in criminal justice, majored in journalism. I did 2 separate internships for 2 different CBS affiliates, one in the Springs and then one in DFW, Dallas area, and hated it. It was the most depressing thing in the world. I'm like, I could not do this full time, talking about just death and tragedy, and it was just too much. So I was asked to be the sports host at TCU my senior year, which was very interesting because I was a TCU showgirl. I was on the dance team. So I was on the sidelines dancing every sporting event. So everything we did was pre-recorded. I did that my senior year and loved it. And then I graduated during the pandemic.
Perfect.
Where post Rudy Gobert coughing on the mics, sports were done.
I love that you brought that up. I love that we still blame him for it.
Oh yeah. Oh no, he
world would have been so much better.
definitely shut sports down.
Yeah,
I will
it's his
never
fault.
forget it. I'm
Shout
like,
out
why
Rudy.
did he do that? Truly. So when I graduated, sports were not happening, and I knew
Right.
I wanted to be a part of it. But nobody really knew. I think at the time I was like, 2 months, we'll be back. Well, it was obviously a much bigger deal
Well,
than
Liv,
that. So
we actually had the idea to open a bar
Yeah.
right
That's
when
a
the
ballsy
pandemic
move.
started.
that's
Yeah.
a ballsy move.
Yeah.
So I joined sports betting because at the time people were betting on like Russian table tennis,
yeah.
like
Oh,
weird,
we were-
weird stuff.
That's when he started.
That was
No,
a
truly,
wild time.
like
That was
that's
us,
when
by
you
the
gotta,
way.
you
That
know,
was- we were
like
doing the best.
Russian table tennis. Who would have thought? But
Yeah.
it was the only thing keeping sports alive
Yeah.
in any capacity. So I joined it. I learned everything there was to know about it. I
Wait,
joined
are
a
these
startup.
videos on the internet? Are you making videos? Are you writing columns? Are you saying,
You know
like, hey,
what? Here's how I actually got on the map. I was doing TikTok dances, and I
Okay.
was putting my NBA player props
Okay.
on top of the. So of course, I was definitely tapping into the what do people like to look at.
Yeah.
I'm no dummy. People always use that as an insult
That's
to me.
how
They're
Wynn
like,
got his start,
oh,
too.
another,
We have a similar origin story, actually.
I love that. So you can relate. So yeah, I did TikTok dances and put NBA player props on there, and I was actually very successful betting NBA player props. So that's kind of how I got my shtick. It was like what
Okay.
kind of made me stand out. And so I just kept posting on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. And Colin Cowherd happened to stumble upon a video and kind of watched my stuff for a period of time and loved what I was doing. And I had this guy that was like, I want to represent you. I want to be your agent. I'm like, bro, I'm filming TikTok dances in my parents' basement. What do you mean agent? Like, that's weird. I'm not doing that. But sure enough, it was like one thing led to another. And it just shows the power of one, social media, and 2, consistency. And
Right,
everyone's always like, oh, I'm so jealous. I want your job. I'm like, then
Do
do it. Like when I started this, I never sent a resume in. I never
Right.
applied for a job. I was consistently doing what I was doing, ignoring the haters, blocking out the noise, and just building the Liv Moods brand. And eventually somebody was like, I love the Liv Moods brand. Let's work together. And now here I am.
It is funny how many people will come and say, man, I really want to do your job. And I say, well, have you ever written? No. Have you ever podcasted? No. Do you have a social media? No. I'm like, nothing's stopping you from doing it.
That's
right.
right.
Buy a microphone, buy a camera, and get going.
How we all got started in this business is just by
TikTok
doing
dances.
it.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. TikTok dances.
A little differently, but doing it probably for free,
right?
And then
Yes.
eventually, getting a little bit of money and then a little more. But we all start out kind of in the same place.
Totally.
When you put the two stories together, though, I thought you were going to say you're doing TikTok dances of Russian table tennis, which I was going to say that's a real.
That would be a super big flex, but no, I was tapping into. I've always been a big basketball, football girl.
Okay.
I find baseball very boring. I'm just going to keep it a buck.
Yeah.
I've never been. If I've got a hot dog and a beer and I'm in the arena,
Yeah, it's fun.
Or stadium, I'm having fun. Love
Yeah.
the Rockies, but
You're not watching at home.
Yeah.
I got you.
not.
Well-
Love you, Rockies, but it's just there's not.
It's a safe time to say that right now. Very
I'm
few
gonna just
people
say it.
are
I'm not really watching the
Rockies.
Colorado Rockies in my free time. So big basketball, football girl though, and always have been a watcher of sports, but definitely watch it differently now that I do it for a living.
For sure.
And the betting thing was just cool because betting is taking over, whether people like it or
Right.
not. It is a part of the game. So it's kind of cool to get my start in something that was so new and fresh, and then like establish a brand that way and kind of keep it moving. So
All
super
right.
fun.
Well, I want to ask you. So, what about the Nuggets? You got an OG Nuggets, some OG Nuggets gear on. With this team in particular, were you on the bandwagon from the beginning? And was there a moment when you were like, "Hey, this team is for real good"?
I loved this team back in 2020.
Okay, the bubble.
A lot. The bubble. And it was interesting because that year everyone wanted to paint the narrative of, oh, this doesn't count, whatever. And then people think the Nuggets like fell off, but what really happened was Jamal Murray got hurt.
Yeah.
And he's part of the glue that holds this current team together. So I went to a lot of games last year, and the trade was great. I felt like we had some pieces in last year's team that just weren't.
Oh no, Will Barton
Clicking.
hater. Will Barton hater over here. Liv Moods.
Can I tell
That's
you?
very
actually,
popular opinion.
It was
Can I
time.
actually tell
It
you a
was
story
time.
though?
It
I
was
have
time.
met Will Barton's. I
Okay.
met some of his brothers, his cousins, and he is a very, very sweet guy. I met him
Yeah.
once through a mutual friend. Very, very sweet. Let me tell you a story though. MPJ, I think MPJ was out for this game, right? And Will Barton had just got caught saying or just said to somebody, "I'm not a bench guy. I'm not a sixth man."
Yeah.
Okay, bet. So MPJ's out. I'm like, here's your moment, Will. This is your effing moment to prove to everybody you are not a sixth man. You're getting full minutes. Let's do it. I bet is over. I am talking this dude up.
That's what
I'm
it is.
talking this dude up.
It all comes
I
back
swear
to a
to God.
misbet.
No, it
Every
gets
time.
better. It gets better. I bet is over. I'm online making videos saying this is Will Barton's opportunity. We are
Yeah.
going to see exactly why the Nuggets have invested in him. This is his shining moment. He had 0 points.
Oh no.
Leading up to the fourth quarter. I cannot make this up. I don't even know if he had a single point in the game.
Yeah.
It was one of those.
Do you want to? Is that what we want to say here?
Liv and I followed each other on Twitter for like I think 3 days now, and I've seen her pick the Celtics to win Game 5.
Oh, no.
And then she came on my show to talk shit about Will Barton. So
Nick, will you get the boxing gloves?
Where's
We're
Eric?
gonna-
Eric, we're switching out for the rest of the show. I'm just kidding, Liv. I'm just kidding.
Oh my gosh!
It
No,
was
I
funny.
mean,
It was a good trade. It was
you
a good
know,
trade.
it was one of those things where you kind of have this, you have an emotional connection to any
Yeah.
player that's on your team, but I felt like there was, I don't know if it could have worked out better getting guys like KCP and
Undeniably.
Bruce
Amazing
Brown.
trade.
It was just a
Amazing
great
trade,
It was a
yeah.
very, very
time.
great trade. Yeah.
Even
So-
Monte, though, who everybody loved, like you just look at it now and you go, even that was well worth it. There's no question
course,
about
man.
was it worth it. It
Of
was
course.
well worth it. I want to move on to some current topics, so I wanted to
Okay.
get a little calibration. Everybody get to know you. Here's a question I've been thinking about that we kind of forgot to discuss. At the All-Star game, Jokic was picked last. LeBron was the captain. He didn't pick him. Jokic just picked himself. And now I want to relitigate this because there have been a lot of players that have come out as pro Jokic prior to this run. And there's some that have been maybe anti-Jokic, vocally anti-Jokic. And then there's been a lot who have just not said anything one way or another. Do you think that LeBron was disrespecting Jokic by not taking him until the very last pick? Was there a message being sent? Was there a little disrespect?
I don't really view it as a massive message. What I will tell you, and it's funny, every time I talk about LeBron James, it's immediately, unless I am kissing the ground he walks on, I'm a hater. And it's like, I don't even, there are moments where I am hard on Jokic or hard on Jamal.
Sure,
I'm not like this. I'm not blind to, faults that these players have. Anytime I talk about LeBron, people just assume I hate him. I will tell you, I think LeBron loves attention. I don't know. It's not I think. LeBron is an attention whore.
Yes.
And then that's not necessarily an insult all the time.
No, he does like
but he is.
Fact
he
at
does
this point.
he does like attention.
There's a level of, I feel like, I don't like using the word calculated because that can be viewed very negatively. But LeBron is a media manipulator. He knows what he's doing.
Of course.
He knows what he's doing. So part of me thinks, yeah, maybe he was trying to send a message because it's LeBron James, and I feel like a lot of what he does is intentional. I didn't view it that way. I didn't view it as a hidden message, but again, because of LeBron James being, I hate using the word manipulator. It's a big word, but
a little bit though.
Everything
Maybe
he
a little
does
bit.
is, to me, calculated.
And at the time, it was right at the height of the controversy, right? About is Jokic overrated? Is he getting too much shine from the media, this or that? What do you think, Wind?
I'm kind of with Liv, and I think LeBron has actually gone into every one of these All-Star drafts being like, all right, who might I want to team up with in a couple years?
Totally.
You know what? This is actually
Who's
way
going to be
more
a free agent? Who could be on the
So
trade block?
true.
Oh,
Yeah.
Kyrie. I'll take Kyrie.
All right, you're right.
Luka, who knows how things are going to go in Dallas?
Jokic.
I'll take Luka.
Yeah.
Dead last.
He didn't take Jokic, I think, partly because he knows Jokic is never leaving Denver, and it's just
Right.
not even worth his time.
Yeah.
I think
true.
that was a big part of it.
All right, well, then let me ask it a separate way, Vote, because part of what's been so great about this playoffs has been, I just feel like Jokic is getting everyone to change their tune.
Yeah.
I think LeBron did not fear Jokic. And I think a lot of players did not fear Jokic. Does he have a fear factor to him now?
Oh, for sure.
You think?
I think anyone who's played Jokic in a series knows.
Yeah, you have to have played him.
If you listen to Draymond
Right.
afterwards, this Lakers team, Kevin Durant after that, anyone who's played him knows that.
One caveat: the Suns. I think the Suns did not respect him.
I think Durant did.
You think? Well,
Yeah.
but Durant didn't play him.
You're saying the Suns.
Like Devin Booker,
Devin
Chris
Booker,
Paul.
That was it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
sure.
know.
Well, yeah, when you're
The Suns
sweet.
are idiots.
crap out of a team.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
That team, there was no version of that team to fear. But if you face Jokic at full strength, right? The same way all these guys know from having played each other. Like, these are the world beaters.
Right.
And I think once you hear LeBron and Draymond and Durant stamp it, even these other guys who haven't been in the playoffs, they know now as well. But in the All-Star game, it's a zero. It's a zero fear. If you're trying to win that thing and you're looking at Jason Tatum or Jokic, who are you taking to your?
But here's
'cause
the-
Tatum's putting.
Yeah.
Tatum's going to win the bullshit
Right, yeah,
special.
yeah,
He's
yeah.
going to win. He's going to get the
That's so
MVP.
true.
All right. And Jokic doesn't care. And
But if the question you're asking is Jokic now going to get picked not last
Yes.
in the draft?
yeah.
No, I don't think
Yeah,
so.
yeah,
But
yeah,
here's
I'm
the
with you.
thing.
I think he
though.
might still go last.
The All-Star, I just think that Jokic is more a face of the league now than he's ever been. I'm not saying he's the face.
True.
But I think he is more of a face, and I just wonder if his peers will treat him that way. You're right that the All-Star game is a bad measuring stick
Yeah,
for this
that's-
because although maybe it changes, and I just wonder if he's now thought of as one of the guys, and even a little fear factor in let's not piss this guy off, man. Like, I might see this guy in May.
I honestly believe that Jokic irritates a lot of the guys in the league.
Why?
I'm going to tell you why, because he is phenomenal at what he does. And he's the type of guy that will go home in the off season and ride horses
Right.
and drink beer. And everyone else is in the gym getting as great as they can possibly be in their version of that. And it is so effortless for him. I think it's frustrating for people. I really do.
Yeah.
And you mentioned Jokic in full strength. I don't even think he's tapped in. If he truly was like, I'm eating clean, I'm in the gym every day, people don't want that. Like,
He's-
you don't.
yeah.
I think he is so. I think what he does is so magical because it is just a natural. He is a natural born, like, just. I don't even know how you describe him. He is insanely good at what he does, and I'm not saying he doesn't put in effort, but his version of the job part of what he does is very different than other people's, and I think that's very frustrating to them.
One of the joys of this run has been we've seen Jokic hit some, let's be honest, some bullshit his whole career. He's the best bullshit shot maker in the history of
For
the
sure.
game. And this last series in particular, I mean, we saw Kevin Durant say, I hate when he makes those shots.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
just, it hurts a little extra when he makes those ones. And then you see LeBron doing his You know, like, what are you supposed to do? You hit 5 or 6 of these a game. And it's fun because it really is an accepted part of, hey, you're going to have to live with Jokic getting like 4 to 6 points a game that look like luck, but they're not. He just does
Right.
it.
At what point do you stop calling them luck if they're happening all the time?
Right.
You know?
5 years ago?
That.
Right. It's like they look so lucky, but that's just his game at this point.
I do love whenever it doesn't happen often, not with these main crews, but every now and then he'll shoot a Sombor and somebody will have never seen it before and they'll be like, now what was that? Did he shoot that off the wrong foot? And you're like, yeah, man, that's his signature shot.
But I think too, even as Jokic has transformed, and now we know obviously he's definitely still eating what he wants and drinking beer, but like he's working out, he's transformed.
Totally.
He worked out after game 4.
I just think it's funny when he first came here, he was drinking soda pop.
I'm with you. No, because I think
was
there's actually a
crazy.
thread that extends. There's a nonchalance even to him going full speed.
Yes.
And you think about a guy like Bam, who he's about to face, who is this insanely mobile, big freak athlete, just a human specimen.
Yeah.
And he cannot guard Jokic. And can you
There's no way.
imagine how frustrating it would be to be that guy and look at a guy like Jokic and think there is nothing I can do?
Right.
I think Jokic's game is simultaneously the most beautiful in the NBA and the ugliest.
Exactly.
in the
Yes,
NBA.
I think that's what I
Exactly.
meant. Like, I don't want to downplay
Yeah.
what he does in the off season or what he
Right,
does
right.
to train or whatever, but he naturally has a I don't give a shit attitude,
Right.
really. And so I think because he has that attitude, it's not that he's lazy and doesn't care. It's just who he is, that nonchalant
Totally.
energy. And I think it probably drives players nuts because they are so emotionally in it and they can't seem to like have that relaxation
Right.
when they play. So I think it probably is irritating. Like he just made that shot over my head and
You're-
like showed no
You're
expression
throwing
or
down
anything.
tomahawk dunks. He's throwing down off-footed floaters. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Hand, so, like,
Totally.
the ball leaves his hand and it's
Yeah.
like this, and you're like,
He's
that's not
throwing
even a-
down and putting up stuff you can't teach or
Like,
you
but
would
he has
never
more
It's not
points than
teachable.
You wouldn't.
Absolutely.
That's
Yeah.
actually true. Should we teach this? Probably not.
No, because nobody else will be able to do it.
You actually don't
There
do
might
it
be
like
coaches
him.
that actually watch Jokic and go, don't do that.
don't do
Don't
that.
try
Yeah,
that.
don't try
Please
that.
don't try
There's
that.
definitely some kids in Belgrade, and the coach is like, rein it in, buddy.
Rein
Right,
it in,
right.
man. What is
You're
this,
not him.
right-footed?
You're not him.
Come on. Last one before our first break here, but this was brought to my attention via Reddit. I was scrolling Reddit earlier today. Only 13 teams in NBA history have gone 16-4 or better.
Wow.
The Nuggets are right now at 12-3. If
man.
they manage to win the next round, either in a sweep or with just one loss in 5 games, think about how rare that would be. Only 13 teams, only 4 since 2000, and only 1 in the last 16 years.
Holy shit.
Wow.
Only 1, the 2017 Warriors that went 16-1. Kind of crazy. It's a little almost unprecedented to this point how dominant Denver's been. It's part of what's so funny about the dialogue.
Yep.
But Harrison, I'll start with you on this one. To go 16-4 and to join that, like if there's kind of that cutoff of, yeah, you only lost 1 game per series on average. Is that a big statement to you? Would that be a big deal?
I think so. And I think it was on yesterday's show. I was talking about how the Nuggets are a juggernaut. They were a juggernaut during the regular season and have been in the playoffs, but nobody looks at them as that because it says Nuggets on their jersey. But doing that would be like the ultimate stamp on like the perfect season that we've talked about a lot. And that's why I kind of actually was the only one who cared about Jokic winning MVP because that would have been a mark in the perfect season.
yeah.
Yeah.
But number 1 seed in the West, cruising through the playoffs, home court throughout. I think it would put a nice bow on the season. Absolutely.
And Liv, I think the reason for me it's important is there are the Jokic haters out there who just want to say if the Nuggets win, well, that was the weakest championship run. And it would be nice to be able to point to actually one of the most dominant of the last 20 years.
You know what? I think even if they do it,
People
we are just so stuck in this ring culture.
Yeah.
I mean, even after the Lakers get swept, the favorite thing to be tweeted to me right now is, well, have fun with your maybe 1. We've got 17. I'm like, you weren't even
I love it.
alive
Half
for
those
half
were
of
in
those.
Minnesota, but
You
whatever.
I'm like, you weren't even alive for half of those, number 1. But we're so stuck in this.
Right.
You can't be great until you've won a championship. Now, however you feel about that is whatever. But I think that there will still be a very large group of people that will be like, doesn't matter how many
Right.
rings do you have. So it's frustrating, but I think it would be great. I don't know if everyone is on that same page.
I think. Go ahead.
go ahead.
Sorry. You want to talk, boss?
No. I was going to throw it to break.
Oh, shucks. I think there's something to the fear factor element of this where I think whatever the Clippers thought of the Nuggets before that bubble series
I love
started,
this.
the rest of the league has come a long way in learning. And listen, man, if those LeBron and AD quotes after that game, it's like they just came back from war.
Yeah,
AD
really,
standing at his locker room,
best team they played,
staring at the wall blankly for 45 minutes, and LeBron walks up and says, "We did the best we could.
We did the best we could."
Jesus,
4-0.
Is this the KD Warriors? And I think if you finish off like. I
So
don't know
true.
if
I love that you
statistically
brought
people
that
will
up.
necessarily notice the benchmark, but if you could just look at this run and you go, they didn't just do it, they ran through everyone.
Yeah.
I think the fans are starting to see it, but I think maybe the players around the league are going to start to go, actually, that's the team we don't want to see.
Yeah.
There's something to fear factor, man. And I'm just saying, though, I joked earlier that I have whiplash covering Jokic the last month. People have gone from he's such a fraud, the Nuggets are frauds, nobody fears him, to all of a sudden, is this the team that's going to own the league for the next half decade? And I do think if you can close this out, you go into next season as a team that people are gunning for and building their roster around, but also that people are just a little afraid of.
Yeah.
Like, man, I don't want to be the guy that's on the wrong end of the Jokic 35, 18, and 12 like all those other guys. And and also, it's not, the fear factor doesn't just come from winning. It comes from, how are we talking about Anthony Davis right now? You know, how are we talking about Karl Anthony Towns right now?
Right.
How are we talking about DeAndre Ayton right now? Ayton score. I thought Ayton's Q score couldn't go any lower. Somehow it went even lower after playing Yoke.
Everyone's telling AD he quit. He's like, F you. I didn't quit. I was
I just
Jokic.
couldn't do it.
Yeah, you do it.
It was too hard.
You do it.
I'm telling you, man. And then if you go in,
So true.
And if you go in against Bam Adebayo, if it is the Heat or whatever, and you just absolutely dominate him, every center that goes
Which he
forward,
will.
every center is going to be like, I mean,
shit, here we go again.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to be looking around Dallas Mavericks, and they're going to be like, "Hey, you got him right." Like we're going to. It's like, dude, what?
They're going to be doing nose goes. Not me.
It's
Not me.
almost like
Not me.
people are thinking of a player in a certain way and have a certain narrative about him before Jokic and then after he plays Jokic.
Oh, totally. It's so true. You're right. There is I will call this the Nurkic factor, to be honest, because he might have been the first one where it's like, is he elite? No, but he's a solid. He can rim protect and he can make passes. And now it's like, this guy sucks, man.
Right.
We don't need a center. We should just, so.
Well, again, when you watch him, he makes it look so effortless, so easy. So there's probably a level of it that we don't even know how great he is unless
you're
you're
right.
Totally.
unless
I
you're
think that's
in
true.
it
Once
you
face to
practice-
face,
Boogie.
right?
Boogie was his biggest trash
you're right.
talker in the league. I'm the best big in the league. He played with Jokic for a year. He's like, yeah, I'm like a top 3 big in the league. I'm one of the best.
Now he's
bigs.
out of the league.
Dude, I do love that. His like, I'm top 3 big.
top
It's like,
3.
It's the funniest action.
He did play with him for a year. He's like, all right.
It's like, look, man, I'm not Jokic. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm looking.
He's like, all right.
All right, he's over there. I got him. All right, let's take a break. We're a little long in this first segment. On the way back, though, we're going to do the title discussion of the show, which is, are Jokic and Murray now the best duo? Is it definitive?
Life
Do we
is
get
so
to put a
good.
period on
Life
the end
is
of
so
that
good.
statement? Let's find out.
Guys, make sure to check out the American Raptors, Rugby Town, USA. They play at Infinity Park. We also have a weekly DNVR rugby podcast. Make sure to hit that subscribe button at DNVR_rugby on Twitter. Keep up with the latest news. If you ever want to check out an American Raptors game, tickets are just $10. Children 12 and under are free. If you can't make it, all their matches stream live on ESPN Plus. AmericanRaptors.com. They play at Infinity Park. Also, make sure to check out Fubo TV, FuboTV.com/DNVR. You can go to that website. You can click that QR code right there on the screen. With Fubo, you get 140 live channels of sports shows, movies, and news. Stream live TV from any device. You can watch the most Colorado sports for the lowest price. And also, you can sign up and just start watching immediately. You could do that right after this show. You get 1,000 hours of cloud DVR included at no extra charge. Tons of events coming up that you can watch on Fubo Sports, but also, like I said, they got 140 channels as well. So go to FuboTV.com/DNVR, FuboTV.com/DNVR to sign up for 15% off your first month of Fubo Pro. So you can get all those things I just talked about with Fubo, but you get even more with Fubo Pro. So FuboTV.com/DNVR, 15% off your first month of Fubo Pro.
Alrighty, we're back here, segment 2 with Liv Moods. You can catch her on YouTube with the volume, mostly talking shit to Lakers fans at the moment.
Oh, every single chance I get. Yes.
Hyping up the
Always.
Nuggets. It's so good to be one of the people that are like early on the Nuggets, isn't it?
It really is. And it's so funny because now I'm getting all the Lakers fans that are like, she bought that jersey yesterday. I'm like,
love it,
okay,
yeah.
no. So here's the difference between you and I. I don't, even when the Nuggets aren't doing enough to be talked about, I'm not talking. Lakers fans are to the point now. I also have learned Lakers fans and LeBron fans are a little different.
Yeah.
Lakers fans
Yeah.
are a little bit more used to some ups and downs, being with the best and then being with okay, we're in a rebuilding year. LeBron fans just follow him where his success is. So
Sure.
they're a little bit of a more delusional level than Lakers fans. I will say that.
Man, I disagree.
I
disagree. I don't
I'm gonna
think
give
there's
them
more
this
delusion.
much. I'm going to give them this much. But I will tell you, yeah, they're like, where are all these Nuggets fans coming from? It's like, we're
Denver.
not running our mouth until we have a reason to. And right now we have a reason
That's
to.
right.
So we're loud and
Yep.
here we are. And we've been around for a while. We're just not delusional enough to talk.
But you're
crap
going to
when
hear
we-
us today.
Oh, you're hearing
gonna
it.
hear us
That's
today.
right. That's right.
So what I want to do now, and you can pull this up, Kale. I want to rank, and this will be your ranking, but we're going to debate it.
Okay.
The best playoff wins, series wins of the Jokic era. So we have to do, if of all of them, there's 7 series wins that the Nuggets have.
Yep.
What has been the sweetest one so far, in your opinion?
You can go recent.
I will say the Jazz one
In the bubble?
was nice.
The
It was
first
just
comeback?
a dogfight, and
Yeah.
I think it was kind of the first time that we were seeing. That was the first time for me that I felt some magic happening with this Nuggets team.
That was a magical one, for
it
sure.
was magic for sure.
You're going to put that number 1, though.
No, let's put that 2. Let's
Okay.
put that 2. 1 has to be this year.
Yeah.
It has to.
Which one?
Lakers.
'Kay.
It has to
be.
be Lakers.
It's the
I
correct
just think.
answer.
I think it's because of Lakers fans, it has to be number 1. I just silencing them. It's like that. Have you heard that quote or that TikTok sound that's like, are you silent or were you silenced? That's how I feel about this Nuggets team. They were totally silent.
Well, I thought that was a Harrison Wind quote from last night. Be humble or be humbled.
There you
He
go.
replied to one of
We
his
need
quotes.
that on a
was
shirt.
that was just the guy's bio.
Dude, the thing about Win
Yeah.
is he's nonchalant with it. Not too high, not too low.
He was spitting
Cold-blooded poster.
fire
dude.
on it. What made you want to do that last night, by the way? If you don't know, Harrison Wind went on Twitter and just replied to every Lakers fan that had told him he was an idiot for picking Nuggets in
Every
5.
single
I
one.
love that. That probably took some time.
I mean, I had like an hour to myself last night. It wasn't that hard.
That's all you
Just
need.
Go to
Just
the
give me an hour.
tweet, go to the quotes, and then just
Did you
reply.
like crack open a beer? Or you just like just put on like
I did.
He kicked his
I
feet
do.
up.
I paused my TV show and got a beer and opened Wynn's tweets. And I scrolled just
I
20
mean, why did I
minutes.
decide to do that? Because I can.
Because I can.
Because I
exactly.
was
That's
right.
all you need
and
to
like,
know.
I'm not afraid to be wrong, but I'm gonna
not-
say when I'm right.
But I'm right this time. All right,
Yeah.
Lakers one to me
right
is
back.
the sweetest. Also, it's a sweep. There's like a lot of different reasons for it. And I will say this: we've all believed in the Nuggets, but that belief went up tenfold after the series. Really, halfway through it.
Because I'm going to tell you right now, full transparency, I thought this series was going 6 or 7.
Yeah.
I really did because the Lakers were, they started 2-10, whatever, but completely different roster heading into the playoffs. And they had and I said this before the Warriors series, I said the Lakers are playing with more of a championship energy than the Warriors are. I felt like the Lakers just had a lot of that grit, that
got
championship
sucked right out of them, though,
right,
in game
it really
one.
did. But I felt like this series I did not anticipate a
Right.
sweep. I definitely knew the Nuggets were going to. I have always said if the Nuggets make it past this Lakers team, there is not a single team
Yeah,
that
I
I fear
agree.
outside of
Yeah.
that.
Well, the
agree.
Lakers also had, Liv, as you know, the best defense in the playoffs.
Well, when you put the
Yeah.
best defense against
Yeah.
one of the best offenses, it doesn't really look like the best anymore.
No, it doesn't.
And,
It's it was what is it? Unmovable object and unstoppable force. One crashed right
One
through
was
the
Oh
other
my
one.
gosh.
movable.
Yeah,
Yes.
one actually was movable.
Yeah.
All right, so we got 2 series down. You went Lakers 1, Jazz 2. Okay. What would be next? You got the Suns 1. You've got the Clippers 1.
On the Jazz, real quick. The Jazz, I think, might deserve to be there because if the Nuggets don't beat the Jazz
this whole
in
era.
that playoff series, this roster might look completely different right
That
now.
is very true.
That saved the era, and it was
Yeah.
also
That
dope
is
as
very
hell.
true.
So what would you go after that? You got
Is that a little shot for me?
A shot. You just
Oh,
got
I
one
am
just for her.
stoked. I am stoked. You know what? I would maybe go Clippers next.
Okay, the other comeback.
Yes.
The other 3-1
Yes.
comeback.
Again, the comeback it showed there was a sprinkle of magic in there with that
Yeah.
team
Yeah.
of being able to fight back against a team that I'm not sure many people had any faith in the Nuggets to be able to do it
Yeah.
against a team like the Clippers. So I'm gonna go Clippers after Jazz.
That one was sweet too. I'll always remember Kawhi Leonard sitting there like scratching his head at the end. Remember when the Nuggets were just stomping him? It was like such a
what is going on?
What the hell, man? We just
Yeah.
it's kind of the same thing as LeBron James had like his this.
Yeah,
It's
they're
such a
stunned.
like
Yeah.
I thought we were gonna kill them and instead
Yeah.
we got humiliated. So
Yeah.
good one. All right,
I would
what's
go
after
Clippers.
that? It's gotta be in my opinion. So you got Suns, Blazers, and Spurs. And what else do we? Oh, and Wolves this year.
Wolves
this year.
Suns.
I'm gonna tell you, I'm probably gonna put Wolves last because to me that series had no business even being close, and I felt like the Nuggets just weren't putting their foot on the gas.
It's so true.
So I would go ahead and put Wolves last.
Dead
To
last,
me,
okay.
it was a pretty dry series.
They might have defended the Nuggets best out of any team they've played.
And I think because the Nuggets weren't really exciting to
you hear that,
watch
Kill?
in that series.
Wolves last.
Wolves last. Yeah, we'll go Wolves last. I'm kind of torn right now between. So I'll tell you, I want to put the Suns next because I hate the Suns.
Yeah.
And they just have a level of, to me, they're one of the most entitled teams in the league.
That's a good word.
They
for that.
have
That's
this
correct.
like arrogance
That's
about them where they just
accurate.
So I want to use my head and not my heart. If I'm going with my heart, Suns would be next because I just cannot. I think also getting KD, everyone and their grandma was like, this is their year. It's like, when are we going to stop with the like one guy changes the whole entire room?
They're
like,
actually worse is the real truth.
Right.
They're worse.
And so
than they were.
I will say keep Suns there for now.
Now all you've got is the Spurs, the very first win, and you've got the Blazers with Austin Rivers and
Austin
Facu.
Rivers.
Shout out Facu.
Shout out Facu.
What was so sweet about the Sun series though was like Devin Booker was the best player in the playoffs. He was anointed. He was crowned, and then all of a sudden, the Nuggets just 1-6.
Yeah.
The dust settles. Jokic averaging a insane.
monster
It's like, oh
triple-double.
no, Nikola Jokic.
So
is
maybe
just
I
better.
keep Suns there.
Okay.
The Spurs have always been such a big rival, which
Yeah.
kind of, like
That was-
long
that
time
was a
rival.
significant
First win too.
And it was, and
First.
it really was. So I'd probably put Spurs next and then go
And then Blazers.
Portland.
I think it's the right. I think it's
I'm
the
good
right
with
order.
this order. Yeah.
I like this list.
To me, I'm gonna put Suns up above Utah. They would be 2 for me.
Okay.
It just because again, the sweep hurt. It's like the most mad I've been in this
Sure.
era. So
Yeah.
the fact that to me that was redemption.
That's like
That
great
is so
top
true
four, though.
because last year we saw that Jokic ejection, and it just was like we were better than that. Like
Yeah.
it was like that shouldn't have happened. Like that should not have happened last year. So yeah, I agree. But
I'll say this though. Look at this list.
Yeah.
Those top 4. Those are hella wins, man.
They are.
Those are good times.
they are.
The Jazz one is almost inflated by this sense of relief we all have about it.
Yeah.
Like we all put it in the top 3 simply because they didn't lose it.
Yeah.
And
Right.
had they,
Right.
we might not still be doing this show.
Maybe not,
So
man.
yeah, but I think that's like good. I have no complaints with this
I like
order.
The
I
Jazz
like
one
this
carried
list.
a lot of weight.
Yeah.
Which is like if you're looking at the teams,
Yeah.
you wouldn't think so. But
Right.
again, it was the first time I felt like, okay, this team's got something. It may
had-
not be this year,
yeah.
but they've got something
The
going
biggest emotional swing for sure, like the lowest to the highest. All right, we got to talk about the top topic here, which is, Devin Booker and Kevin Durant were considered maybe the best duo. Anthony Davis and LeBron, just because of how they fit, you can run pick and roll. And then you'd Harden and Embiid. I mean, we got 2 MVPs. These guys, you want to talk about, both guys have a case for MVP this year. All of the best duos have been vanquished, half of them by this very Denver Nuggets team. And Murray, not an all-star, and I think people just stack accolades, like what are your 2 players as accolades, and then that's how you judge it. I think right now, if the Nuggets pull this off and win the title, I mean, job's not done. They got to win the title. Going into next year, the same way it is definitive right now that Jokic is the best player in the NBA, I think it'll be definitive that Jokic Murray is the best duo in the NBA. What do you think, Wind?
100%. I mean, Nikola Jokic has been the best player in the playoffs. He's been incredible. He's been godlike. But, Jamal Murray's averaging 28 points a game.
It's crazy.
Just averaged 30 points a game against the Lakers. And he's kind of doing it as, by playing second fiddle. I absolutely think that's going to be the case. And
Talk about the fear factor, too. Like, I think Murray gives you the fear factor. He has a little of that Jimmy Butler fear
Yeah,
factor.
man.
yeah, he does.
He's not a guy you want to talk shit to when you're
Honestly,
in a tied series.
Murray destroyed Dylan Brooks more than LeBron, at least for the one game. Like when he started talking.
He's just screaming in his face. By the way, that's his friend.
Yeah, it's his buddy.
Yeah, that's the
There are
kind of-
few things scarier than when Jamal Murray is hot.
Yeah.
I don't think there's much of an argument right now. I think some people would say Celtics maybe. I think,
Tatum and Brown.
but my whole argument
They won't
against
be a
that.
duo next year.
That's true, actually.
God, life is so good. I think my biggest argument against that is that Jokic and Murray are just a legitimate duo. They're not 2 players on the same team. They have a
Right.
2-man
Yes.
game. It's a
Exactly.
1-5 pairing. I've said this in weeks recent, but they bend a defense just by taking the floor together. They break a defense when they're at their very best. So what do you do with those guys in a pick and roll is a different thing than you're cooking, I'm waiting for my turn.
Yeah.
So that's just kind of how I see it.
I think they already are. I don't think there's waiting for a championship. And I'll tell you what I think I respect the most about it is this isn't a duo where a superstar hopped to a team to try to get a ring.
Right.
This is a duo that this is what we've got. Let's
Grew up
make it
together.
work. And they made it work.
Yep.
So this isn't a Harden goes to the 76ers to be with Embiid and hopefully get a ring. Didn't happen. KD goes to the Suns with Devin Booker to get a ring. We have a lot of ring chasers in this league. And Jokic and Murray are a combination of like, hey, maybe right off the bat they didn't get along super well. I don't know, but I'm speaking hypothetical. Maybe they didn't have great chemistry right off the bat. Maybe they weren't each other's first choice, but they made it work.
Right.
So I think there's a level of respect that everyone should have for this duo, that this isn't a bunch of superstars just going and pairing up and becoming besties and trying to win a ring together. This is, we're here, we're in Denver, we don't want to leave. This is what we've got. Let's make it work. And I think they're the best 1-2 punch in the league right now by a mile.
We talked about this duo as if they might be Stockton and Malone. You know, because you think of duos, you think of Stockton and Malone, the pick and roll, the two guys together. And then you would
Their
think
stellar off the court record.
then you start to Jesus. Then you start to think about them as like maybe it's Tony Parker and Tim Duncan. And I think that one fits a lot in a lot of ways. Like Tony Parker not thought of sometimes as some of the other point guards, yet he always beat the other point guards in the playoffs. So maybe that's what it is. But I'll tell you what, and I got to give a hat tip to Ryan Blackburn on this one. It's possible they're just Kobe and Shaq. It's possible they're actually the Kobe and Shaq of this era, not one of those other ones, which is to say the most dominant duo and the duo that you look up to. And when you're building a roster, you're like, yeah, we have a good team, but we're not beating Kobe and Shaq.
Right.
We're not beating Murray and Jokic. We got to let them expire a little bit.
Right.
When Murray gets hot, I don't know if there's like, I am like emotional about it. Like I physically start to like feel the feelings, and I'm like, you cannot bring me back down to earth right now. Don't even try it. I mean, the way that my favorite thing to say is in your head or in your face and on your head whenever Murray is just splashing threes from the logo wherever he wants, basically. Mm-hmm. If I get to that screaming stage of watching the game, it's scary business for everybody involved, and I usually just tell my family, just leave me alone.
You gotta come to the bar.
Leave me alone. But you know
Liv.
what's so funny is when Murray gets hot, there is a sense of relief of like, okay, we're good. But until he gets hot, I'm never comfortable.
Yeah.
Never feeling great. But what is so great about this duo is we saw it in game 3 where, was it game 3 or game 4, where Murray started off really great.
Where he started off great? That was game 4.
Game 4 started off great. Jokic was ice cold, right?
I do it 3. Game 3.
I think it was game 3. Yeah.
Game 3.
So Murray started off hot, had a really slow third quarter, but when he was slow, here comes Jokic.
Right.
Jokic started off really slow. Murray's like, I got you. Here we are. Like there's such a nice, even spread of talent with this Nuggets team. But when Murray is hot, it is like, it's probably I'm probably the most excited and like. Yeah,
I'm excited for the conversation for Jokic should the Nuggets win. Again, the resume thing. But I do think there's also, that's one drum. Like this is how I have everything planned out. You talked about not talking until you have a reason to talk. I've got notes. I'm prepared.
You're ready to go. You're ready to
because
go.
Because that is going to be one of my ones it's rare to have a duo that shares chemistry the degree that these guys are. And when you do, usually one of the players maybe isn't quite good enough or whatever. Right. And it's like, Murray might be good enough, man. He might actually just be the next great superstar hiding in plain sight.
I think we've asked each other this question 100 times, on the pod and in writing. Coming into this playoffs, in my opinion, Jamal Murray had the most to gain and lose on this team of anyone. And I don't think people realize the extent to which, if it's a title or bust season and it doesn't work out, the second best player is a place you look. I'm not saying it was inevitable,
right?
But they're not going to trade Jokic. And so there was a lot to lose. And the questions of his consistency and his conditioning were peaking. At the end of this now, I think he's changed his reputation forever. Even if he is inconsistent, he might start getting more all-star votes, more just of that street cred, if you will.
Respect,
both from the fans and the players around the league. These guys are going to be stamped as winners after what they did to the Lakers. Even if they don't win the title, I hope they do. But that was on the biggest stage, man. Everyone was watching that series, and there's no way you have a different takeaway than Jokic and Jamal are good enough to win multiple titles.
Yeah. And what those duos that you were just talking about, Parker, Duncan, Stockton, Malone, Kobe, Shaq. They played forever together.
Right.
They have a chemistry that you can't just get on the free agent market.
Right.
And Game 3, when Nikola Jokic took over the Nuggets huddle and said, me and Jamal are going to go 2-man game, and we're going to win this game by just running this same play every time. And they scored their last 3 baskets in that 2-man game.
How badass is that, by the way?
It was awesome, but they
So
scored
sick.
them in 3 totally different ways.
Also-
and they just played off each other, taking what the defense gives them, read and react basketball. That was special. And like that is a reason why they can be the best duo, why they probably already are.
All 3 buckets, by the way, easy.
All three,
Just-
three
just
buckets
kinda doing
also
our thing, like, yeah,
kind
here
of
you go.
Easy money.
with Anthony Davis in the action.
Yeah, exactly. You're right. Attacking him. They found their mark. I think that Jokic obviously a big winner, Murray a big winner, but the duo part of it, I've always said I would love for them to go down in history together just because it's cool. Same with the whole team. I think there's the Jokic agenda, the Jokic-Murray 2-man agenda, and then this idea of like, is this starting 5? We think of the Pistons this way, at least me, but growing up with the 04 Pistons, they just had the best collection of guys.
Right.
And you were just like, man, that's just, none of them are stars, but they're all so good together and they fit. Well, Denver has the superstar and they have that
Yes.
chemistry, and I want them to go down that way.
Nuggets fans will remember it as Jokic and Jamal. I know Jokic is the guy. That's not up for debate, but Nuggets fans will talk about the Jokic and Jamal Nuggets for sure.
I gotta tell you, one of my favorite like hidden gems right now with this Bruce Brown, a little sneaky number in there. I'm like loving watching him play right now. Obviously the duo is great, but to your point, it's not just the duo. The duo is phenomenal, but it's almost like there's this team where it's like, hey, you guys are having an off night. We got you. We're good.
Right.
KCP's like, let me heat
Totally.
up from the 3. We can do this. Bruce Brown in transition every time. Like it's such a good combination.
KCP's the most right on time player in the NBA. I just feel like he's always like, up there it is. That's my alarm.
Yes.
My number.
Totally,
That's
totally.
KCP music. Here, let me hit a couple threes.
Yes.
The team needs me.
If you watch the Lakers after he hit some of his shots, LeBron's just shaking his head.
Yeah.
He's like,
Like,
why
oh,
is
we
he
had
not
that
on this
guy.
team, man?
Dude, I'm
he's
telling you
great.
though, the video I've watched more than any other Nuggets video in my life is Jokic's crazy 3 at the end of this.
course.
Just because there's so many crowd reactions. I haven't looked at them all because there's probably 100 different people, and I've looked at maybe 70 of them, and they all give the funniest react. It's the most painful shot to lose on, and you could see all of them be like, "What?"
Yeah.
That's how I felt though. I was in the living room like that. Like there he goes again with that. And I think even my dad was like, that is the ugliest shot in the world. What the hell? I'm like, it's his shot though. It
You know
really
what?
is.
You know what? Nothing but net.
That's right. That's
wasn't
right.
even-
If
That's
it
the
works,
thing. He
keep
never
going.
banks these. He never
Yeah,
banks
it wasn't a
them,
bank
dude.
shot. It
He's
wasn't a
always-
rattler.
it's
It was
nothing
just
but
a
net, dude.
Also, there's
Of
another
course.
little thing that we've learned in my household that when Aaron Gordon goes for a 3, if you yell no, he makes it. If you yell yes,
Dude, Liv's
it's a
one of
brick.
us. One of
It's
us.
a
think
brick.
that's
I'm
also
telling
practiced
you.
in this
Every
bar
time
here.
he's gone for a shot, I'm like, no, don't do that. Swish. I'm like, okay,
You
hold
know what
on.
we call that on this show? That's your assist. That's what we say.
Okay,
If you
then
scream
I had a
no-
lot of those for AG that game because I'm
She's
telling
like,
you.
I'm averaging a triple double.
I'm telling you right now, I've got Jokic numbers then because I'm telling you, every time I shouted no, don't do it,
Yeah.
swish. Every time I was like,
Yeah.
all right, he's heating up, brick. I'm like, okay, let me just get back to the reverse
Hold on.
jinx thing.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. If you guys want to jump on that, it
we're
does
on
work.
it.
Yeah,
We're with you.
It does work.
We're out here. All right, let's take another break. On the other side, I do want to talk a little bit about this upcoming finals. Celtics Heat. Does it make a difference? We'll get into that. We have another game for you.
Ooh, I love games.
We have another game for
Kind
you.
of all we do here.
Breckenridge Brewery is the official beer of DNVR. Tons of Breck Brew on tap downstairs. So if you guys want to come in for game 1 of the finals, by now you've seen the video circulating of the DNVR bar during game 4. Mayhem, insanity. If you want to experience that and drink Breckenridge Brewery, stop by the bar game 1. Stop by the bar all week, actually. We're open. Tons of Breck Brew on tap. Make sure to pick up some Mile High City Golden Ale. You can see it right there on the screen in that Nuggets can with that Nuggets box. Breck Brew, the official beer of DNVR. If you don't know where to get Breckenridge Brewery, check out the Breck Brew beer locator. Just type in your zip code. It tells you exactly where to get Breckenridge Brewery. Also pick up the Mile High City Golden Ale. I could have used this after game 4. Our friends at IV Nutrition of Wash Park. You got to go to their Wash Park location, corner of Alameda and Downing. Anyone who mentions DNVR when they come in gets 50% off their first IV nutritional drip. Give them a call, 720-259-4404. They've got a ton of different services that they offer. They also do wellness blood testing and consultations, intermuscular injections with vitamin formulas. They got the Express lunch break drip, hydration drips, the Mega Multi Headache Haven, Balance Brain. Makes you smarter.
Look at
That's
the drip.
pretty cool.
Look at the drip.
Stop by IV Nutrition of Wash Park and scan that QR code for more information
That's how we should
as
have.
well.
That's what we should have filmed.
I know.
Look at the drip.
Drip. Dev in the same outfit, zero grav chair.
Corner Alameda and Downing. Mention DNVR, get 50% off your first drip.
Shouts to the homies. You know when we should sign up now? If the Nuggets win it, next day we definitely should do a drip.
Oh, for sure.
A hangover drip.
Hangover drip.
Pre-parade drip.
Or oh yeah, before you go to the parade.
On my show, I do I'm doing it at a bar, which, you know what? Maybe I should just do the Denver bar, for God's sake. No, I do it at a bar, and I'm like making a drink the whole time. And after game 4 sweep, I was out the bottle. There was no cocktail making happening. My producers are like typing, going, "No more shots. Don't do that. Do not do the last one. Put it down." And I'm like, listen. You know what? We just got to celebrate this.
I'm
This is
cooking over
insane.
here.
Exactly.
One of my questions is, if it is Miami, Denver's going to be favorites. And they've been the underdog this whole time. Michael Malone's played that note really well. Denver has like silenced most of the critics, but not all, but most of the critics. Enough that we can say close to all. Does it change anything for you, Vote, if the Nuggets are the favorites, like a heavy favorite going into the finals?
It'll be weird.
Yeah.
It'll be weird. It already is, man. I mean, people are obviously, it's still very unlikely Boston wins that series. And every national podcast is like, look, I'm picking Denver regardless. Right. And
it might be one of those things where like ESPN, every single person picks Denver.
And that will be weird. And we have had this take that the Nuggets need to be the underdogs to get it done.
I don't want ESPN picking Denver.
I know it feels weird.
They haven't cared about us at all year, so
But
stay away.
It will have been earned. And I'll say this. I've been on it all year that as much as I love what Miami's doing, and hap tit to the Lakers who did figure it out. All right, I take that back. But I want to believe in the regular season. I want to think it matters. And part of the reason, if Denver plays Miami, they're going to have home court and they're going to have had, in theory, an easier route there. And it will be because of how seriously they took the regular season. So it'd be weird to see them as favorites, but it would have been earned. It will have been earned. And so I'll be able to appreciate it.
What do you think, Liv?
I want them to mentally remain underdogs.
Right.
And they can be physically favorites. Because I feel like when they're physically favored to win this series, it means that people are finally respecting what they've been doing all year long. I could not believe how many people post game 1 in the Lakers series, post game 2, were tweeting with a tone of voice that was shocked.
Right.
They've been on the effing top of the Western Conference all year long. Like, how do you think they managed to do that?
But isn't it kind of fun playing this note?
It
like, this is our favorite note. Is like,
It's
how did you guys
awesome.
not see it?
No,
We saw it, you idiots.
absolutely is, but
But
that's
we don't
where
get to do that the next round, I'm saying.
Totally, but I think where it gets frustrating is like yesterday, for example, when LeBron, or the day before yesterday, when LeBron is flirting with the idea of retirement, which he is not retiring, by the way. He's a media manipulator, and you guys fell for it. Joke's on you. Kind of taken away from the fact that you just got swept. Now let's do the smallest violin, and let's bring out the retirement conversation. But all day yesterday, it was not the Nuggets have made history.
Right.
Jokic is incredible. Jamal is incredible. It was LeBron may retire. It's like, oh my God, can we talk about the players that are still here? So physically, if they are favored, it will finally be a moment of welcome aboard. We've been here for a minute, and it's now you realize that you were starting to look like clowns. So come hang with us. But I mentally want them to keep that underdog mentality, because when they have that, they play with a level of spice that I feel like has benefited them a lot.
Yeah.
So,
and I think they will, because that's part of the genius of what Michael Malone has been doing these entire playoffs.
Yep.
He's been drilling it into his guys and drilling it into the national narrative that the Nuggets are the underdog. So that chip that's on the Nuggets' shoulder that's been there the first couple rounds, it's not going anywhere.
Right.
Like, they are still going to believe nobody believes in us.
Yeah, but it might not play as
underdog.
well, though, in the next round.
It doesn't
You know what I
matter,
mean?
though, because it's the freaking finals.
Yeah, it
and
doesn't
there's
matter.
nothing after that. So it really doesn't matter.
All right, it's fair enough. Do you prefer when the Heat or the Celtics?
Oh, the Heat. The Heat. The Celtics, I actually think, can give the Nuggets some trouble
I
defensively.
I
agree.
100% agree.
I actually think they can. The Heat, I'm not going to reveal my pick, but I don't think it will be too long of a series. The Heat are just not that caliber team.
Bam can't guard Jokic. We know that. I think very few regular season dynamics of a matchup carry over into the postseason. That's one I would put every egg in that basket. That Bam just can't guard Jokic. He's too small. I do have some fear of Spoelstra. I mean, he's the best coach in the
Yeah,
league.
there might be a coaching advantage for the Heat. I'm going to be honest.
And I think Malone has actually, either been even or outcoached, right? All the way through the playoffs. I think that would be the biggest challenge. And would he cook something up in terms of that, I don't know, ball denial scheme, double teams? I don't know. But obviously you'd rather play the Heat than the Celtics. I don't, especially because if the Celtics are to make it out at this point, that means they figured it out. And they're still not a team you want to play in Boston. Even with the games they've lost, I would still rather have home court.
Is Spoelstra better than Coach Jokic, though? Hey.
That's a great question.
Listen,
I will
we've got two coaches on the Nuggets.
That's
We've
right.
got two head coaches
You
here.
kind of
So
you're
listen.
joking a little bit, but you're also serious here because one of my
Yes.
fears about the Lakers was LeBron. One of my fears of the Suns was Chris Paul. Those three might make up the three smartest players in the
Right.
NBA. And so there was a little bit of a, well, what if LeBron figures out? LeBron tried, man.
He did.
Right.
He tried.
Yep.
He tried.
Wasn't
But
enough.
there's another level. So maybe Spoelstra has the best scheme, and it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
What about this one, Liv? Would a Heat Nuggets finals be spicy? With a little bit of bad blood. We all know the Jokic, Markeith's not there anymore. And I kind of
Right.
get the feeling they didn't like him anyway. So I don't know. Maybe they don't care about that. But there was also in the bubble,
Well, they
Aaron.
half-heartedly took his back when that whole thing happened.
Dude, the funniest part about it was
Haslam was like, good play.
he's like, I kind of like Jokic, so it's tough. He couldn't quite contextualize it. But there's that. But then there's also, Kyle Lowry got into it with Aaron Gordon. Do you guys remember this in the bubble when he's like, my room number is 206 or whatever like that? So do you think this would be one that has bad blood?
Maybe a little bit. We've seen Jimmy Butler run his mouth quite a bit in this series, and I think it'll only be, elevated in a finals situation, do or die, pretty much. It's very interesting because the narrative right now is nobody wants to watch a finals between the Nuggets and the Heat. We don't care. Don't watch.
Right. Yeah,
don't
yeah.
watch. We really,
kinda hope no one
I don't
watches.
think anyone gives a crap whether you watch it or not. We really don't. But I do think there's going to be some spice, and I got to tell you, I loved Aaron Gordon talking crap with LeBron. That to me, when he
Right.
plays aggressive, he is one of a kind. So I almost I want him to run his mouth a little bit because I think it kind of, now let's not get ejected or do anything
Sure.
crazy, but I do think when he plays an aggressive game, he's really great. So I think there's going to be, of course, some mouth running, but I don't think it's going to be anything. Maybe the Jokic brothers, they might be doing the most crap talking from wherever they're able to be at. I don't know. Are they going to be able to be at the away
They
games?
have to
They'll-
be.
they'll be
I was
there.
going to
They'll
say,
be there.
Why wouldn't
I
they
saw
be?
some conversations about whether or not they
They're
were
banned or something. You
Yeah,
can't-
I- some people were talking
they
about
went to a
anything.
regular season game there after that all happened.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah,
So
they'll
they'll
be
be
there.
there.
They also went to
But
the
yeah,
club.
I don't know if it'll be the most spicy series,
Yeah.
but because I also think the Nuggets aren't really a spice. They're all about business. They don't do the extra
Kind of.
hoopla a lot of the time. Like that's one thing I think I love the most about the Nuggets is that they don't feed into the extra show of it all. They're just here to get the job done.
The
So,
best
I
would
love
be,
that.
though, if Murray and Butler both get mad at each other.
Yeah.
If they both poke the
Oh,
They
bear.
both elevate.
I think there will be some spice from the Heat mainly because
Yeah.
look, I have a ton of respect for Jimmy Butler. Like that dude is ridiculous. But the Heat, they just don't have the talent to play with Denver. Their best chance in the series might be to get it spicy and
Yeah.
like try to get under the
Irritate.
Nuggets' skin. So
Yeah.
from that angle, I'd expect some.
The funny thing about Jokic, though, is like, I can't imagine with Jokic, not Jamal, getting under Jokic's
No,
skin.
it's impossible.
He
That's
just
kind of
giggles.
Yeah.
He's not listening. He
doesn't care. He
But
doesn't care.
it'll be a really fun series. Don't forget, in terms of spice, I don't know how much either of them really care. In the bubble, I believe Aaron Gordon called Kyle Lowry a bitch. And I believe Kyle Lowry said, my room number is
Yeah.
blank, blank, blank.
Yeah.
I don't know if
Wow.
they still care. It was a long time ago. But
Men do not like being called that.
Why
No,
would they
they
want to
don't.
fight
No,
in
they
their
don't.
hotel room though?
I think Kyle was just letting him know he's not
They're just-
scared.
yeah,
Honestly, man,
I feel
that-
like
I
that's a
feel
weird,
like
that's a
there'd be
weird
better
place to
areas
fight.
to
That's a
duke that
weird
out.
place to fight.
That's true, yeah.
yeah.
Look,
You just go back to your room.
I don't know that there would be bad blood. The thing I'll say, though, is that I think these are the two toughest teams in the NBA. And Denver has won both the Sun series and the Lakers series, not because of them. They won because they were more talented.
Yeah.
But they also were tougher. And both the Suns and the Lakers wore down. I don't think the Heat will wear down.
Yeah.
I think they're like the Nuggets, where it's like if they're out of gas, they're still going. So
Yeah.
I think it'll be a really good. And then physically, I think they're both trying to intimidate. They're both trying like
Right.
They're also two actual teams.
yeah, two
And
teams.
I think that's the ultimate reason why they're going to beat the Celtics in the end. And a reason, like the Nuggets beat the Lakers. Nuggets and Heat are teams.
Right.
You know, the
Yeah.
Lakers and Celtics, they're not teams.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's take our last break here. On the other side, we're gonna do. It's basically the haters ball, but we tailored it for Liv. So we're gonna have to check Liv's mood rings.
We'll start her off with a shot of
Moody
Rocky.
is my
today.
real last name, so we'll see what's going on.
Take on the sun with gear built to last at Shady Rays. They've got you covered for the warm weather ahead. Premium polarized shades at an affordable price. Right now, go to shadyrays.com. Use the code DNVR. Get 50% off 2+ pairs of polarized sunglasses. Try yourself the shades, rated 5 stars by 250,000 people. Also, if you lose or break your Shady Rays, even on day one, they told us they will send you a brand new pair. No questions asked. Wear your Shady Rays with confidence. They've also got a Memorial Day sale going on starting tomorrow, the 25th. Starting tomorrow, go to shadyrays.com, get 35% off all sunglasses. Again, rated 5 stars by 250,000 people. But right now, you can go to shadyrays.com with the code DNVR, 50% off 2+ pairs of polarized sunglasses. Also, again, Fubo TV, 140 live channels of sports shows, movies, and news. Go to FuboTV.com/DNVR right now and get 15% off your first month of Fubo Pro. There's so many events you can watch with Fubo TV. French Open, WNBA, NHL Draft, PGA Championship, F1, UFC 289. FuboTV.com/DNVR. Get 15% off your first month of Fubo Pro. 140 live channels of sports shows, movies, and news. Stream it from any device. You get 1,000 hours of cloud DVR included at no extra charge as well. FuboTV.com/DNVR.
All right, back here, final segment, DNVR Nuggets podcast. Don't forget to throw us a like here, guys. Throw us a subscribe if you have not. For some reason, if you watch the show every day but don't subscribe, that's
Helps us out.
That's
help
kind of
us out.
weird, guys.
That's a little bit weird. Also,
Make sure
subscribe
you
to her
subscribe.
show on the volume. It's just the volume. Just hit the subscribe because they're all on
Yeah,
the same
the volume
feed, right?
sports. I think they all fall under the same thing. A lot of what I do is just on my social media at Liv Moods. But yeah, YouTube.
There you-
I'll
there
do a
you
little
go.
bit of everything.
All right, we have a game for you, Liv.
Woohoo! I love games.
Moods ring.
We have a
Oh,
graphic
look
for
at
you.
that! You know what? I need a sticker of that. That is so good.
Little
That is
Nuggets
good.
skyline for you. You
Love
got to tell us,
that.
and then we have a scale for you.
Okay.
So you have
Oh my gosh,
which
those are
room-
really good.
So you either love, you hate, neutral, or maybe
Okay.
dislike, content, somewhere in between there. So
is epic.
You're gonna
Okay.
have to bring it up every time she has to make a pick here. But I'm just gonna give you some people. You tell
Okay.
me what does the ring reveal to you?
Okay.
LeBron James.
I'm gonna go pink on this one. If he wasn't a crybaby, it would be love.
Okay,
But he whines too
content.
much. Because you know what? Off the court, I love everything he
Yeah.
does. And when he spoke about Jokic, I was like, God, why can't you just
I
do
know.
that on the court? Like, he just does too much of the flopping to the ground. If he just let his talent speak for itself, he'd be loved. But there's
Yeah.
just that level of the whiny crybaby stuff that, and everyone's like, well, they all flop. Well, yeah, they're watching it work for him. They're trying to get the same sort of
Yeah.
That
benefits
flop
here.
he did have, though, was shameful. Like,
And you're
that
getting
was-
him back is actually the
You got him
funniest
right
thing.
back.
Though.
Drives
That's
me
what's
nuts.
so funny because it was one of those ones where the Lakers fans couldn't even get mad. You know,
I
usually
know.
you'd be like, "Oh, come on," but it's like, "All right, see if it."
Yeah,
Yo,
right.
just did it
So
right
if it weren't for the whining and the crying, it would totally be love. But we'll go pink just because it drives me nuts.
All right, Bones Highland.
Used to be red, now is yellow.
Dislike. Oh, you are anti-Bones.
You
This
know
one
what?
hurts,
And I've
man.
actually met him, and he was one of the most
Yeah.
cool, genuine
we love
people. And I actually, I had asked him how is everything, and he had made mention of a feeling that he had, not a negative feeling about Michael Malone, but just kind of a we don't really see eye to eye.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I knew that's one side of the story, and there's two.
Yeah.
I am very, very disappointed in the way that he left this team. and I'm disappointed in just the attitude that he had departing this team and kind of the praise that he had for the Clippers when he was on the other side of things. It just felt like a jab, and it was like, for what? You listen, you were upset about playing time, but you had quite a bit of it. So I don't really understand where the frustration is coming from. And when you're young and you get thrown into a team, you kind of need to just count your blessings, right? Like he felt a little entitled in some moments, which was a little frustrating.
He didn't see the big picture. I mean, for sure, he didn't see the big picture.
I think he just had a little bit of an immature mindset around some things. I feel a little salty about his departure, so I'm going to go dislike right now.
What about you guys?
I'm a grudge holder, though.
Bones?
Oh, man.
You can play along in the chat, too.
Can you bring up the scale again?
You didn't memorize it? You didn't memorize it?
I'm probably neutral. You know, like, I feel like if he looked back on the situation, he would have done stuff differently.
For sure.
I feel like he would admit that. He's young. He'll learn from it, I think. It could have been handled better. There could have been a different outcome for sure. But I'm not going to hate him for it.
I do think a lot of the stuff he's doing with the Clippers, he was doing with the Nuggets, you know, just in terms of like, I guess you could call it pandering. And I loved it when he did it in Denver. So I don't want to switch up too much now. I think he's young. I think he's got a chance to grow into whatever the mature version of himself is.
Sure.
But I'm with both of you that, oh man, like it's, even if he wasn't playing, he could just be on this team. He could just be on this roster right now. And I'm at neutral probably.
I can't dislike him.
Maybe yellow,
I'm
but
content.
neutral.
I'm like, I like him. I can't dislike him, even if I do think.
But I feel bad. I feel bad. I don't think he did it to himself, to be clear.
That's what I'm saying. I think he screwed up and he's young. And what can he do, man? Lakers fans.
Can we get something below hate? Is there a negative there?
So how did they treat you during this in the lead up to the series?
I will never forget Game 4. You know, I am any smart day one Nuggets fan knows you don't talk shit until it's 0-0. Time is out. The game is over. Like so much can happen in a fourth quarter. In the last 2 minutes, we saw it in what was it, one of the Suns games where they came back in like the best performances they were having were in the last 2 minutes of the game.
Game one of the Lakers, you know, the Nuggets were up 20 the whole game and
blew it. Yeah. So I am smart enough to know, and again, it's just to me, it's just common sense, which I guess a lot of those fans are lacking. I had people in my mentions at halftime of Game 4. Sorry, Liv. Ooh, put your broom away. I'm like, you are so ballsy. You are so ballsy, but you're so ballsy that it's making you look like an idiot.
Yeah.
Like, I can't even be mad. I will tell you, I had a Lakers fan comment on my post today. This is a new one. He said, you know what? I just laugh at it. It's actually so rude, but I just laugh. He said, remember when women didn't have rights? Good old days.
Jeez.
Because I made a video about Lakers fans, and I'm like, here's where I
sounds like
sit.
Laker fan. That sounds like a Laker fan.
But here's where I sit. If somebody came to you and said something so left field, you would just be like, okay, that's weird. That's so far from the truth. If I make a video or a piece of content about Lakers fans and it doesn't sit very well, there's probably some truth. You're wearing the shoe that fits and you're upset. Like, it's almost better to just not give me a reaction. But when you give me a reaction, I know that what I'm saying is rubbing you the wrong way. So I'm going to say below hate. They're just so, again, they were so loud.
Our girl.
They were so loud before
Eric,
the series
get to work on another
started.
graphic. We need to turn it around in like 5 minutes.
They were so loud before the series started. And then it's so hard for them to even admit that, like, the better team won. Like, they can't, there's always an excuse. There's a 1 second you're flexing the fact that LeBron James is 38 and had a 40-point triple-double, but then when he gets swept, it's an excuse.
Right.
Don't
Totally.
switch up. Don't switch up. Like, keep it consistent. So, yeah, I can't stand them right now, but you know what? They're not all the same. I will say there's some few in there, but there's not many.
Not really.
Rare breed.
Oh, the whole world hates Laker fans. Charles Barkley.
I really like Charles Barkley. I actually do. And I like that he's been giving the Nuggets some serious credit throughout the season, and you got to respect that. I'm going to say love. And you know what? I love everything about the show that they have.
It's the best show ever
made. The
made.
dynamic, the laughing. Sometimes they can't even get... Shaq is like a giant kid. They cannot get him to stop laughing in the corner. And I just think it's so much
best.
of sports sometimes, especially when you guys know this, but you guys are a great example of sports are supposed to be fun, for God's sake.
Sure.
Sometimes we get too uptight about trends and data and analysis, and it's like, just have fun. And I think that show is just a fun show, and Charles Barkley has respected the Nuggets all
Nuggets
season.
respecter.
And I appreciate that. So
Because
I'm gonna
he's
go
a
love.
former player, and most former
gets it.
players get Jokic.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm a love also.
Yeah.
Love
I
is
love
the right
it.
Love
answer
is the
here.
right answer.
I love it.
I'll go as far as to say that if you hate Charles Barkley, it's one of those ones where people are like, I hate Barkley. I go, I judge it a little.
You're
You know, like,
probably-
quietly.
Now I'm
You're gonna
judging
go-
you.
If you
I go,
hate him,
"Oh,
you're
you
probably
now I
a
know
Laker
we don't get
fan.
along.
What, you don't like that he's the funniest person on earth?
You're probably
Is
just
that-
a Laker fan.
Right.
Shaq was saying about how he was going to pick the Lakers just because he was calling it we, you know.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Chuck goes, "Oh, you count the Lakers as one of your teams?"
He's so funny. I love that dynamic on that show. I love it.
George Karl.
He's online, Liv, so be careful.
You know what? I don't know how you really. There's a lot of Nuggets fans that have a lot of animosity from
Yeah.
years and years, decades ago, even.
Yeah.
I like George Karl. I do. I'm gonna go content because I don't have this, upstanding love for him necessarily. I don't have anything against him. I think that when he was here, he did a lot of great things for
Yeah.
the Nuggets that you just can't overlook. So I'm gonna go like in between content and love. I don't have a negative opinion about him.
I love George. He's like a top 10 tweeter. 'Cause
I love his tweets. I really do.
He's a poster,
he's
man.
the only-
In volume? Or
He's the only former coach that is on Twitter talking shit about everything.
It's actually
It's
wild.
hilarious.
My mom did not recognize him when they showed him on
Yeah,
TV. And I think
yeah.
a lot of people, but I love that he tweeted and was like,
Yeah, he's like-
yeah, I coached for this many years and I've battled cancer 3 times. I don't look the same as when I was coaching the Denver
I
Nuggets.
love
but
that he went to the game too.
Me too.
I do.
I love that he's back.
What is your guys' thought on him requesting Carmelo Anthony?
Not his job. Not his job.
But do you want Carmelo Anthony there?
Yeah, we have a Carmelo one coming up
let's
here in
go.
a little bit.
Let's go.
So we can
I'm
get
jumping
into
the
it.
gun, sorry.
But I will say that's not George's job. Like George is,
He's a recruiter now.
he's putting
His
he's
job
putting,
is to talk shit on Twitter.
I mean, I
Yeah.
don't. Yeah, kind of.
Kind of, yeah.
He does a good
George
job
has
of
a
it.
great saying where he says, like, he'll talk about a player that's rough and tumble as an elbow and asshole player. That's what he says. George is an elbow and asshole coach.
Yeah,
I love it.
he is.
and he's an elbow and asshole tweeter.
Tweeter, yeah.
It's hilarious.
He's fun on Twitter. He's a good follow
But
on
I'm
Twitter.
a love. The COVID white jerseys. We call them the COVID white jerseys. The one with the red bar because it looks like a positive.
The
COVID
ones they
test.
wore the other night.
But they've closed out 2 series in them.
Oh, then you can't really hate him, can you? You can't really hate him. Sorry. I believe in good juju like that.
Closed out the Wolves and the Lakers.
Once you become a sports bettor, you believe in the weird. I never used to be a jinx person, but listen, every time God bless my mother, love her to death. She actually may be watching. Hi, Mom.
Shout out,
but
Mom.
She shout out Mama Moods. But she has this thing where she's now figured it out because she knows. I've told her you can't be doing that. I'll tell her. She's like, oh well, what bet do you have? Oh, I have Jokic over. Oh, that's totally gonna hit. Ah! Why did you do that? Why did you do that? No. Now the moment
Bettors
you said
are
that,
the most
it's
superstitious
dead.
people
It is.
ever.
I'm telling you, betting has made me. It just has made me just not feel great about that kind of thing. So if those jerseys they have closed out series in, I'm gonna say, let's go neutral on that because
Yeah.
they're not my favorite to the eyeball. But if we're doing okay with them, then let's not mess with the juju.
Yeah.
I definitely
I'm a
started
big-
off the playoffs hating, but I might be content right now.
Yeah, let's just go. Yeah,
I'm
in the
content too.
middle.
You close out a team, I'm like, oh, what could you do?
Can't argue,
I no
yeah.
longer fear them if they play in those ones. I'll be like, all right. What about this one? I'll go to vote for this one. Jason Tatum.
Oh, it's funny you ask. Can I say you guys might be surprised. Dislike.
What?
Wow.
Dislike.
You can't hate, huh?
I don't hate Jason Tatum. I hate the Celtics. I hate the Celtics. I hate their fans. If you're watching, I hate you.
One of them is.
Blake and Ball, I respectfully hate you. I'll say dislike for Tatum. Here's why. My biggest Tatum thing was just that I'm going to sound like Nick Wright. He got to skip the line, in my opinion. He dunked on LeBron in a conference finals like 14 years ago, and now he's been the 3rd best player in the league ever since, and he plays well for a month, and people in Boston go, is he better than Jokic? And I want to lose my mind. I do think after his relative playoff up and downs, struggles this year, and his poor finals, I think people are closer than ever to being right about Jason Tatum. He's like,
Are you going to like him after that? Are
he's
you
like, yeah, he's like the 8th best player in the league.
I don't,
7th best
maybe,
player. in the league.
maybe
Jason
lower than
Tatum,
that,
I've been
man.
saying this all playoff. Jason Tatum is closer to Jamal Murray, than he is to Nikola Jokic.
Well, I mean, that's fair in that
I agree
very
with that.
few players are close to
But
Jokic.
I hated the coverage, but I do
Yeah.
think we're moving closer to an accurate perception of reality.
All right, let's get to Carmelo Anthony next. Liv?
This is
Where you
going to be
at?
so unpopular.
I don't know. I think it's 50-50. I think it's mixed.
love Carmelo Anthony, but I have to tell you, as a young girl, he was the first Nugget that I had fandom for, and I think you just hold on to that.
Cool.
That's just some
Sure.
nostalgia there, right?
Totally.
And I have a lot of Nuggets fans that will interact with my stuff, and they're like, well, I don't like the way he left, and I don't like this. That's fine. But I also think as fans, we forget that this is not only a business for the teams, but it's also a business for the players. And however he left, or how we disagree with the fact that he, you know, kind of just, it did kind of feel like he was like, bye forever, Denver, you know? And we were the team when he was in that insanely talented draft class of 03. This was the team that kind of where his history started. So it is difficult. There's a lot of things about it that I don't like, but I've also seen an interview where he said, I think I should retire my jersey in Denver. And so it's like, despite how little he came back here or whatever, he's also a New York kid. He grew up in New York. So there's some ties there as well. I understand people's
When he
frustrations.
was like 2 years old.
Right.
matter.
Well, you know, whatever. But I understand the frustrations there. But again, this was the first Denver Nugget that I ever truly had. He made me love the Denver Nuggets, and he made me love the game of basketball because I was so young. So I'm a big Melo lover. He's my favorite player by far ever.
Wow.
So I just have that soft spot. It really is just a soft spot for me. I
Where
love
are you
him.
on this one?
I mean, I share some of those same things. Like, I grew up here. I rooted for the Nuggets growing up.
Yeah.
The 09 series was like my best memory of the Nuggets until
Yeah.
this era. But I mean, Melo has been so far off like my radar for so long,
Yeah.
where I'm kind of just like content with him right now. And my thing is, if he wants to be accepted by the Nuggets again, if he wants to be, you know, part of this franchise and like really be one of us again, he's got work to do, you know, and just like liking or retweeting a tweet from the Nuggets on Twitter isn't enough. Like he's got some
agree.
work to do, I think, to
Yeah.
reestablish himself with this fan base and this community. And if he does that, if he comes to a game, if he shows the Nuggets love when they win a championship, I will say I didn't love the timing of his retirement announcement.
Yeah.
I didn't love that. But if he stands the Nuggets during the playoffs, I think that is the first step to him being welcomed back into this family. And I think in the end, that's what he wants, and that's what we want as well.
We did a great show yesterday with Christopher Dempsey, the Denver Sports Podcast. You guys should be subscribed to that anyway. It was me, D-Line, and Chris Dempsey. And Dempsey obviously covering the Nuggets during that era, so with the Denver Post, so he has some knowledge firsthand of that whole era, and he had some great stories. And I am very pro Nuggets fans can now kind of put it to bed. Like, his legacy will never be what it was because he broke up with the city of Denver and left. It'll always be tarnished. But I do think my default setting is that what's the point of being angry your whole life? Like,
Yeah.
he's retired now. It's over.
Yeah.
Let's kind of celebrate the past or whatever. But those two, Dempsey and D-Line, both convinced me that I think he does. The ball is in his court. I think it's in
Totally.
the
That's what I was trying
organization's
to say.
court.
Yeah.
Totally.
But I do think that he needs to show that that is something that's important to him and that he's willing to sort of meet Denver. I think if Denver just honors him without that, it will feel a little gross of like,
Yeah, no,
You
you
kinda
don't want
w-
it to feel forced either.
yeah, right. But I mean, again, if he does care at all about, hey, that I want to be able to go back to the team where I did all these great things, I
Right.
want to be able to be part of that extended family, then I do think he needs to show up on some media tours, maybe this very show, and just say like, hey, Nuggets fans, I love you. You know, it went the way it went, but I still have love in my heart for you guys, and I hope we can mend the fence. And if that's the case, we can all be a
if
happy
that's
family.
the case, fences
Yeah.
are meant. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's good.
Yeah,
We're good.
I agree. All right, hit that outro music. I know we have a couple super chats here for a little.
We also need to make Liv take a sip or shot of
Oh,
vodka.
that's right. We
Yeah.
have it here.
It's-
So
you should sip
in,
that. You should
in
sip that one.
Serbia,
It's
you
pretty
say
big.
Jivali.
Jivali?
That's how you say
Yeah.
cheers.
Okay.
Maybe
And that's
take
a
a
Serbian
sip
brandy.
first and then
And yeah,
Judge it for
cheers.
yourself.
Is it strong?
It's strong.
It's,
some people love it.
some would
people
say.
love it.
I'll read as you drink from GK Super Chat. As gentlemen and in honor of Jokic, you should offer the lady some rakia.
Oh,
Okay,
there
so
you
what
go.
do I say? Jivali?
Jivali. That means cheers in Serbian.
Okay, Jivali.
Yeah.
And
She just does
Wow.
it. She did go to TCU not that long ago.
how
I
was
feel
it?
it in the nose.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna even try to pretend like I'm a tough guy.
There's a little burn.
It's coming out the nose a little bit. But anything for the Nuggets.
There we go.
Anything for Jokic, anything for the Nuggets. Listen.
Anything for Serbia? Apparently,
That's
that was
right.
a
That's
little
right.
Shout out to
Yeah,
Serbia.
if you weren't in the club before, you are now.
Yeah.
There we go.
55555-ish. Shout out to Liv. Also Harrison. Adam and I will get fucked. What were the top 3 most satisfying quote tweets you responded to last night?
I mean, I'll tell you the most satisfying one. Like when I wrote, "This is why the Nuggets will win in 5." The premise was just Nikola Jokic is just too good.
Dude, I love
Right.
that you're
And
right.
a lot of the quote tweets were like, all this article said was just Nikola Jokic is too good. There wasn't any analysis. There wasn't any film work. And I'm like, that kind of was just my premise.
Yeah.
Nikola
You don't
Jokic
need
in the end
analysis.
was just too
Why
good.
did the Nuggets win in 4? Jokic was too good, man.
Right,
Exactly.
right.
There were a
Exactly
couple
what
people too
happened.
that were like, "Oh, you think he's going to put up those same numbers against Anthony Davis?" It's like,
Yes, I
And then-
do. Correct.
Win was putting up like
It just always comes back to Jokic
quadruple
and the fact that
digits
he's
on
too good.
replies.
Yeah, that was great.
Unbelievable. Neapolitan, all I want is a Nuggets chip and at least one Jokic versus Jovic post-up play. Much love to DNVR. You guys are a true staple to the Nuggets community.
you're not going to get Jovic. You imagine if
isn't playing.
Jovic is in the series? Not going to happen.
And finally, from Capwise Liv, Queen emoji. DNVR is going to help me get through these 8 days without Nuggets basketball. Is it really 8 days?
That's a lot.
The rest,
One more week starting tomorrow.
rest for the rest versus the rust convo might start popping up soon here. Hashtag F them ratings.
Oh, I can't wait for that
Rest
conversation.
versus rust.
You
Oh,
know what?
I cannot
I gotta
wait.
tell you though, because my mom actually said the same thing. She's like, sometimes rest isn't always great, and I totally agree with that. In this case, they have been playing exceptionally well, and I do think that there was a level of exhaustion that we were starting to see in that Lakers series.
That was an
So
exhausting series.
Every other day,
it was
too.
it was exhausting for the people on the couch. I can't
So true.
imagine how it felt for people
So
playing.
true.
So I do think rest is actually going to be a good thing for them here,
Yeah.
especially if they're catching it. I think the Celtics are winning the next game at home. The series is not over. That's how I feel.
Are the
Sorry.
Heat winning Game 6? Or are you not going that far yet?
I have this weird, sick feeling in my sports betting stomach that if there is a team to come back from a deficit, he's going to be sick. If there's a team to come back from a deficit, it's going to be the Celtics.
How does that make you feel?
I
Well,
think he needs one of those shots.
It's a good segue to our super chats. Liv,
Oh, no.
This is the weirdest thing about our show.
Yeah.
Once an episode, a Celtics fan pays money to check in with me. But he also wants to say, what's up, Liv? I am
What's
the
up?
resident Celtics diehard. Seeing A-Rod and Jeter at a game where Boston is down 0-3 was fun. They need to come to game 5.
The dumbest move possible. What were they thinking?
What were they thinking? And he follows up another
I think
super
A-Rod's been
chat.
at every single playoff game.
They just
this
only
entire
highlight
postseason.
Yeah, all right.
For Wind and B vote, Tatum is a good player, but is near top 5 to 7 than Murray. No hate, I love Murray, but all love, B vote, stay hating. I will.
That's your
Stay
opinion.
hating.
Like,
There
I
you
will.
go.
I will.
Who knows, man? We might have to figure this thing out head to head. It might come to that.
Stay hating is like my favorite thing people say. Like I had someone comment and they were like, "You sound like someone whose team is going to the finals for the first time." They are. Idiot. Like, what do you mean? Yeah, that's
Yeah.
exactly what I sound like. That's exactly who I am.
Guess
So
what? It's awesome.
It
It's
is
like-
freaking
it's
awesome. And I bet when the Lakers had their first finals appearance, you were probably going crazy.
Yeah.
Well, you're probably a
Well,
geriatric, so the
born.
social
Yeah.
media wasn't there then. But
Right.
nonetheless, yeah.
Talk
So
your
funny.
shit, Liv.
Always.
Thank you.
Always.
Thanks for coming in. This was fun.
Thank
That's
you,
great.
you
Good stuff.
guys.
Thank
You
you.
guys are running a very great show, and I
Thank
think
you.
Denver sports get overlooked a lot. So I love what you guys are doing.
We got-
Anytime
Thank you so
you want
much.
me down here to take some shots and talk shit,
You got to make it for one of the finals games. I want
I
you to see
will.
this
Absolutely,
bar. I want you to see
absolutely.
it in its best light.
I'm a homebody, but I have made a promise
You can
that
hang
I
out
will
up
be
here.
here,
You
and
can hang
I'm
out up here.
okay. I'm here then. Absolutely, I'm here.
Everybody else, thanks for hanging out with us. We went long today, but you know what? It's all fun. Hit that like button for us on the way out. We'll see you next time.
Bye.